Welcome to the shifted self. This is not a place for noise or distraction. It's a space for silence. The kind of silence where you finally hear yourself. Not the version of you shaped by fear or doubt, but the version waiting to be remembered, to be reclaimed, to rise. What you'll hear today is not hype. It's not the kind of motivation that fades after 5 minutes. It's a seed, one that grows only in discomfort, in solitude, in truth. Because to become unbreakable, you must first break what never truly served you. Let's begin the journey inward. The invisible voice that sabotages you. Most people never question the voice inside their head. They think it's them, as if every thought must be true just because it appeared. But here's the truth. Not every voice is yours. Not every thought is real. And the loudest voice isn't always the wisest. There's a voice in you that has memorized every failure. It repeats the same script. You can't. You're not enough. Why even try? And slowly, without realizing it, you start living according to it. You stop showing up. You stop dreaming. You shrink. That voice isn't your enemy. It's just untrained. It grew in the dark from shame, fear, failure. Years of silence. And like an echo, it repeats whatever you've believed the longest. Becoming unbreakable doesn't mean ignoring that voice. It means meeting it, face to face. Asking it, where did you come from? And then choosing to speak back. That's the first step to stop letting your thoughts think for you. To recognize that your mind is not your master, it's your tool. And a tool, if not sharpened, will rust and cut you instead of serving you. The mind will follow whatever you feed it. If you feed it excuses, it will crave escape. But if you feed it responsibility, challenge, and truth, it will transform. Not all at once, but slowly, with practice, with presence, with intention. Becoming unbreakable doesn't start with muscles or success. It starts with awareness. Because once you can see the voice, you are no longer ruled by it. Discomfort is where the truth lives. Growth never happens in noise. It doesn't come from applause, validation, or being told you're enough. It begins in discomfort, that sacred space where you are stripped of distractions and forced to face who you really are. That moment when everything is quiet and there's no one left to blame, no one to impress, only you and the raw truth. Most people run from that space. They fill their lives with noise, screens, notifications, opinions, because silence reveals too much. And comfort numbs the call to rise. But those who become unbreakable do the opposite. They walk into the silence. They sit with it. They let it burn away the lies. You don't build a resilient mind by chasing ease. You build it by choosing the path that no one wants to walk. By staying when every part of you wants to quit. By listening to the pain, not as a punishment, but as a teacher. Pain has a strange way of speaking. It doesn't shout, it whispers. And only in stillness can you hear what it's really saying. The message is simple. You're more than this. You've been hiding behind distractions. It's time to grow. No one becomes unbreakable by accident. It's a choice, a daily decision to turn toward what others avoid, not to prove something to the world, but to finally show up for yourself. Strength is found in the small battles no one sees. People often think strength is forged in one grand moment, a single test, a massive achievement, a turning point. But that's not how it works. True strength is built in the ordinary, in the small, unseen decisions that stack over time. It's not about the day you finally won. It's about the thousands of days you showed up when no one was watching, when you felt nothing changing, when you heard no applause, and still, you didn't quit. The mind doesn't become unbreakable from intensity. It becomes unbreakable through consistency. It's not one hard workout. It's doing it when you're tired. Not one day of clarity, but showing up even when you're lost. Discipline isn't loud. It's quiet. It looks like a simple choice, the alarm you don't ignore, the phone you don't pick up, the truth you don't run from. And with each choice, your identity starts to shift, not with fireworks, but with quiet, steady transformation. You won't always feel inspired. You won't always feel strong. But the mind doesn't need your feelings. It needs your commitment. Every time you choose what's right over what's easy, every time you stay instead of running, you're training your mind, not just to endure, but to lead, to rise, to become something solid in a world full of excuses. That's how the shift begins, not with noise, but with the silent decision to not betray yourself again. Pain is not against you. It's showing you the way. Pain has a purpose, but only for those willing to stay long enough to understand it. Most people feel pain and immediately try to escape. They numb it, avoid it, blame others for it. They say, "Something's wrong with me," as if discomfort were a defect. But pain is not a flaw. It's feedback. It's information. It's the language the soul uses when words aren't enough. Pain says, "Look here. This part of you is still weak. This wound hasn't healed. This fear is still running the show." And instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" the unbreakable mind asks, "What is this trying to teach me?" The ones who grow, the ones who rise, they stop treating pain like punishment. They see it as a mirror. And though it hurts to look, they look anyway. They learn to sit inside their discomfort without rushing out of it. Because they know, if you run from pain, you stay soft. But if you face it, you evolve. Pain introduces you to your limits, but also to your potential, to the fire you didn't know you had, to the strength buried beneath your excuses. It's not about loving pain, it's about respecting it. Not letting it define you, but letting it reveal you. Becoming unbreakable is not about feeling nothing. It's about letting pain shape you, not shatter you. No one is coming to save you. The responsibility is yours. There comes a moment when you realize no one is coming to save you. Not your parents, not your partner, not a coach, a book, or a lucky break. The life you want won't be handed to you. The mind you admire in others won't magically appear in you. And the person you could become? Only one person can build that version of you, you. But this is where most people stop. Because taking full responsibility feels like too much. It means you can't blame your past anymore. It means you have to look in the mirror and say, if my life stays the same, it's on me. That kind of honesty burns, but it also liberates, because once you take back control, you stop waiting. You stop hoping that someone will understand your pain and fix it for you. You stop wishing for rescue and start learning how to rise. Radical responsibility isn't self-blame, it's self-leadership. It means owning your mind, your habits, your reactions. It means choosing to act even when no one else believes in you. People with unbreakable minds don't rely on external motivation. They generate their own fuel through discipline, through clarity, through the decision to stop outsourcing their power. They know the world owes them nothing, so they build from within, brick by brick, failure by failure, lesson by lesson. That's the foundation of a mind that can't be defeated. It's not built in comfort, it's built in responsibility. The kind no one will ever applaud, but that sets you free. Identity is a choice. And you can change who you are is not set in stone. Your identity is not your destiny. It's a story, and every day you're writing new pages. But the truth is, most people don't write their story. They repeat it. They relive the same thoughts, same habits, same excuses, believing it's just who I am. That phrase, just who I am, has killed more potential than failure ever did. Because the moment you believe you can't change, you stop trying. You accept a cage, decorate it, and call it your personality. But the unbreakable mind knows you are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not even your current limitations. You are what you repeatedly choose to become. Every time you rise when it would be easier to fall, you shift your identity. Every time you act with integrity when no one's watching, you rewrite the story. The mind is not a prison, it's a canvas. But no one else can paint it for you. Becoming unbreakable means letting go of old roles. The victim, the doubter, the one who always quits. And yes, it's painful to kill those parts. But it's even more painful to live a life that never belonged to you. Who you've been does not define who you can be. So ask yourself, what kind of mind am I building? And who do I become in the process? The power to change is already in you, but you'll only find it when you stop hiding behind who you used to be. Solitude is where true strength is formed at some point in the journey, it gets quiet. Not because you failed, but because you're doing what most won't. You've left the crowd, and now it's just you and the work. That's when doubt creeps in. That voice whispers, "You're alone. Maybe you took the wrong path." But listen closely. What you're feeling is not isolation. It's separation. You're separating from the old version of you. Growth requires distance. From comfort, from chaos, from people who don't understand the fire in you. And yes, it gets lonely. You'll miss the noise sometimes, the validation, the feeling of belonging. But eventually, you realize what you're building within you is more sacred than being understood. Silence becomes your sanctuary, not your punishment. In solitude, the mind sharpens. In solitude, your intuition gets louder. You begin to trust yourself again. Not the masks, not the noise, yourself. The ones with unbreakable minds, they all walked alone for a while. Because forging something real requires focus, and focus often comes with solitude. So don't fear the quiet. Don't rush to fill the silence. That emptiness, it's not empty. It's space being cleared for who you're meant to become. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. Sometimes it's there when you wake up. Other times, it's nowhere to be found. But discipline is what remains when motivation disappears. That's why the unbreakable mind doesn't depend on emotion. It's not built on hype, energy, or inspiration. It's built on commitment, on showing up, especially on the days when you don't feel like it. You don't become strong by waiting to feel ready. You become strong by doing the work anyway, again and again. Repetition is how character is carved. The warrior doesn't train because it's fun. The builder doesn't lay bricks only when it's sunny. They do it because the mission matters. Because skipping today means weakening tomorrow. Discipline doesn't always feel good in the moment, but it feels right later. Because every time you follow through, you prove to yourself that your word means something. And over time, that builds trust. Not in others, in you. Imagine trusting yourself so deeply that you no longer second-guess your potential. That your actions speak louder than your doubts. That's what discipline creates. A self that keeps promises. A self that doesn't fold under pressure. A self that doesn't need permission to rise. When discipline becomes your rhythm, resilience becomes your nature, and success becomes inevitable. Crisis doesn't wait. Either you prepare or you break. You don't train your mind for when life is easy. You train it for when everything falls apart, because the storm always comes. Not maybe, not someday, always. And when it does, you won't have time to build strength. You'll only have what you've already built. That's why the unbreakable mind is forged before the crisis, not during, not after. It's built in the calm, in the boring days, the routine, the repetition. Most People wait. They wait for pain before they move. Wait for loss before they reflect. Wait for a breakdown before they take their minds seriously. But the resilient don't wait. They prepare. They train their mind like it's armor, because it is. They know that life won't ask if they're ready. It will just hit. And when it does, the untrained break. But the prepared bend and bounce back stronger. Strength isn't built in reaction. It's built in anticipation. You don't rise in crisis. You reveal who you've become. So ask yourself, am I only growing when things go wrong? Or am I growing now, while I still have the chance? Because when the darkness comes, and it will, you'll either be crushed by it, or you'll be ready to walk through it. Being unbreakable is not being perfect. It's being true. Becoming unbreakable doesn't mean you never struggle. It doesn't mean you never doubt, or hurt, or fall apart. It means you keep showing up. You show up with truth, with intention, with a quiet strength that says, I don't have to be loud to be powerful. Being unbreakable isn't about being hard. It's about being whole. It's knowing who you are when no one's watching. It's standing rooted when everything tries to shake you. It's not perfection, it's presence. Not fearlessness, but courage despite fear. Not invincibility, but resilience earned through every fall you rose from. The unbreakable don't escape life. They feel it more fully. They face the grief, the pressure, the discomfort, and they use it as fuel. Because deep down they've made a choice to stop living small, to stop hiding behind who they were, to stop shrinking their light to fit into places they've outgrown. They've stopped chasing validation. They've started walking in truth, and they know the real battle was never out there. It was always inside. So if you want to be unbreakable, stop trying to look strong. Start becoming strong. From the inside out, in silence, in solitude, in surrender, in relentless truth. That's where the mind changes. That's where the self is rebuilt. That's where the unbreakable is born. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, it's because the unbreakable part of you is already awake. Maybe not fully, maybe not loudly, but it's there, listening, watching, remembering who you were meant to become. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more depth, more presence, more people brave enough to build strength in silence. If that's who you're becoming, you're not alone. This space, the shifted self, is for minds like yours. Minds in motion, minds evolving, minds ready to shift from surviving to becoming. So if this message found you at the right time, leave your thoughts below. Your words might be the spark someone else needed. And if you're walking this path, not perfectly, but intentionally, I invite you to stay with us. Subscribe, and let's keep building. One thought, one habit, one moment at a time. The journey never ends, but who you become along the way makes it all worth it.